You're listening to Wicked Heart's Tangled Bodies, an original romantic audio series. Chapter 1. Collision. They warned her about Julian Voss. Arrogant as hell. But they never said he'd be hot enough to melt her brain. Adira Blake checked the time again. Late. Of course. And then, just as her patience thinned, he walked in, 6 foot something, stubble like sin. That smug designer scarf hanging off his neck like he invented sex. He didn't just walk into the meeting, he owned it. Adira's voice was razor sharp, but her stomach was heat and static. Nice of you to join us, Mr. Voss. I was beginning to think punctuality wasn't in your skill set. Julian smiled, slow, deliberate, amused. Miss Blake, I figured I'd give you a head start. God knows you'll need it to keep up. She was all sharp eyes and unshakable calm. The kind of woman who filed emotions under weakness. He should have been annoyed. Instead, he was hard. Adira didn't blink. Oh, I don't plan on keeping up with you. I plan on winning. Some of us lead with talent, others with charm. Guess which one lasts longer? Julian's smirk deepened. Touché. You always this intense in the morning. Or is it just me? Adira's lips curved. It's you. Definitely you. You radiate irritation. Julian laughed, low and unbothered. And yet, here we are, about to spend 3 months co-leading the most luxurious penthouse redesign in New York. Instead, he was hard. Adira didn't blink. Oh, I don't plan on keeping up with you. I plan on winning. Some of us lead with talent, others with charm. Guess which one lasts longer? Julian's smirk deepened. Touché. You always this intense in the morning. Or is it just me? Adira's lips curved. It's you. Definitely you. You radiate irritation. Julian laughed, low and unbothered. And yet, here we are, about to spend 3 months co-leading the most luxurious penthouse redesign in New York.
Previously, on Wicked Heart's Tangled Bodies, Adira Blake met Julian Voss, and sparks flew. Now, they're not just rivals, they're stuck working side by side. The elevator opened with a soft ding. Adira stepped out, heels sharp against marble floors. It was early. Too early for anyone. Except him. Julian stood by the glass wall of the 27th floor, hands in his pockets, the city skyline glowing behind him. Of course, he was already here. Looking like he hadn't lost a minute of sleep. Looking like trouble. Again. He turned, smirk in place. Didn't think you'd show after yesterday's flare-up. Adira didn't slow her stride. I don't run from sparks, Voss. I build fireproof walls. He chuckled, following her toward the meeting table. Is that what yesterday was? A spark? Felt more like a door cracking open. She stopped, met his gaze, cool, unbothered. You imagined that. Just like you imagined your name belonged at the top of this project. Julian leaned in slightly. Says the woman who couldn't stop staring at me. Adira gave a slow, deliberate smile. I was studying my competition for weaknesses. He grinned. You'll be disappointed. The meeting room filled quickly. Interns, associates, Sasha from management, all blissfully unaware that World War III was already underway. Blueprints were unrolled, tablets opened, coffee flowed. So, Sasha announced, you'll be co-leading the penthouse redesign. Full access, full authority, full partnership. Julian raised a brow. I'm not great with sharing. Adira didn't blink. Good, neither am I. They disagreed on almost everything. He wanted modern, cold edges. She wanted warm luxury and bold design. He mocked her sketches. She deleted his lighting concept. Tension curled between them like smoke. "You're standin' behind me again?" Adira muttered as she adjusted a digital layout. "Why?" "Maybe I like the view," Julian said softly, his voice close to her ear. She didn't turn. "Keep talking, and I'll request HR on speed dial." "If you're offering to get me on my back," he murmured, "I'm all in." Her pencil snapped in half. By 9 p.m., the office was nearly empty. The city outside glittered with lights. Adira was still working, finishing renders, cross-checking specs. She didn't notice he was still there. Not until he placed a cup of tea beside her hand. She looked up, surprised. "I don't like surprises," she said quietly. "Good," Julian replied. "Then you won't see this one coming." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" He smiled. Software sincere, dangerous. "It means eventually, one of us is going to crack." She stared at him for a long beat. "And you think it'll be me?" "I know it'll be you." The air felt heavier, not quite hostile, not quite safe. He didn't touch her. He didn't have to. She could feel the pressure of him, the pull, unspoken, but impossible to ignore. Adira finally stood, collecting her things. "We'll see who cracks first, Voss." He said, leaning against the wall. "Looking forward to it."
Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Adira and Julian tried to work together, tried to stay civil, tried not to touch. They failed at all three. The office was quiet, too quiet. Everyone had gone home. The air conditioning hummed, low and steady, like the faint pulse of tension that hadn't left since Julian walked in that morning. Adira stretched her neck, stifling a yawn. It was past 10. She should have left hours ago, but the floor plans needed tweaking. The renderings weren't syncing, and part of her didn't want to leave because he was still there. Julian Voss, across the room, leaning back in his chair, sleeves rolled, collar loosened, watching her like a slow burn. She could feel him watching. It made her skin feel too tight. "You always work this late?" he asked, voice low and lazy. Adira didn't look up. "Only when I'm surrounded by idiots. And yet, here you are, alone with me." She exhaled, quiet, sharp. "Trust me, if I had better company, I'd take it." He stood, moved toward her, his footsteps deliberate, controlled. She didn't look up, but she felt him. The air shifted when he got close. Too close. "You know," he said, standing behind her now, voice near her neck, "you get this little crease between your brows when you're frustrated." Her breath caught. "Maybe that's because you never stop talking." "Maybe," he said softly. "You're just turned on and pretending not to be." She did look at him now, over her shoulder, eyes sharp, breath uneven, their gazes locked, and the air changed, thick with static, loaded with everything unsaid. He reached past her, slowly, too slowly, grabbing a pen from the table. His chest brushed her shoulder. Her heart stuttered. "This proximity thing you do," she said, voice tight. "Is it your idea of flirting or harassment?" "Neither," he murmured. "It's foreplay." She didn't move, didn't flinch, just whispered, "You think you're irresistible, don't you?" He smiled against the tension. "Number I know I am." Thunder rumbled outside. The skies cracked open. Rain slammed against the windows in heavy waves. "Well," Julian said, glancing at her, "looks like we're stuck." "There's a storm shelter downstairs," she said quickly. "Too far," he replied, already unbuttoning his cuffs. This office is safer, drier, and infinitely more fun. She turned to him fully. If you think a blackout is your opportunity, he stepped even closer. Number, it's punishment for being this close to you and not touching. Her throat went dry. He was right there, so close she could feel the heat of him, the scent of him, that maddening mix of cedar, leather, and danger. Her eyes dropped, then snapped back up. This is a bad idea, she said. Most good things are. For a moment, neither of them moved. The lights flickered, and in that tiny, breathless pause, the power went out. Darkness wrapped around them. A heartbeat, 2, 3, and then his fingers found her wrist, just barely, just enough, and her body betrayed her.
Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies, trapped in the office during a storm, Adira and Julian came dangerously close to doing the one thing they swore they wouldn't. Touch, darkness, total. The storm outside raged, but inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. Adira felt his fingers brush her wrist. A barely there touch, but it lit something inside her that she didn't know she'd been holding back. She should have pulled away. She didn't. She couldn't. Julian's voice was lower than a whisper. "Say stop." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out because she didn't want to stop. She wanted to burn. His hand moved, slow and steady, up her forearm. Her skin was electric, alive, aching. He stepped in closer, and she could feel him now. His chest, his heat, his breath fanning over her cheek. She didn't know who leaned in first, only that their faces were inches apart, seconds stretched. Breath tangled. Her pulse throbbed in places she didn't dare admit. "This is a mistake," she whispered, eyes shut tight. "Then stop me." Silence. And then she kissed him, hard, desperate, like she'd been holding her breath for days and he was the only air left. He responded instantly, hands in her hair, mouth hungry, bodies colliding like magnets that had been fighting gravity. The table slammed into the back of her thighs. She didn't care. He lifted her onto it, hands gripping her hips, mouth on her neck. She gasped. Her blazer slipped off. He didn't ask permission. She didn't offer it, because in that moment, there was no room for logic, no room for rules, only need. He pulled back slightly, forehead resting against hers. "Tell me to stop," he said again. She looked at him in the dark, eyes wild, lips swollen, pulse racing. "Keep going," she whispered. His hands returned to her waist, his mouth to her collarbone, and then lower, and lower, and... A loud bang from the hallway. They froze, breathless, heartbeats hammering. Someone had slammed a door 2 floors down. The spell broke. Reality rushed in. Adira blinked, swallowing hard. She stepped back, grabbing her jacket. Julian didn't move, didn't speak, didn't beg. But his chest rose and fell like he'd just come down from a high. She turned, breath shaky. This never happened. "You sure about that?" he asked, voice rough. She didn't answer. She walked out, fast, but inside, she was still burning.
Chapter 5. Aftershock slow. Sensual tension with emotional bite. Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. They kissed, touched, climbed to the edge of no return, and then stopped. Barely. Now, they're pretending nothing happened, and failing miserably. Adira hadn't slept. Not really. She'd tossed all night, tangled in sheets and shame and want. She could still feel his hands, still hear his voice in the dark, still taste him on her lips. Her body wanted more. Her mind was screaming no. So when she walked into the office that morning, chin high, blazer sharp, eyes cold, it wasn't strength. It was defense. And Julian? Julian was already there. Of course. Smirking. Of course. But his eyes, they didn't smirk. They watched. "Morning," he said casually, sipping his coffee. "Don't," she said flatly, walking past him. "Don't what?" "Pretend like it didn't happen." "I'm not," he said, setting the cup down. "I'm just giving you room to pretend it didn't." She turned sharply. It was nothing. Liar. Silence stretched between them like a rubber band pulled too tight. Then, Sasha walked in, and with her came the act. Smiles, nods, professionally chilled greetings, and not a single glance too long. At least, not from Adira. Julian, though? He watched her every move, like he was memorizing her all over again, like he was wondering what would have happened if that damn door hadn't slammed. Lunch hour came fast. Most of the team left to eat downstairs. Adira stayed behind, claiming deadlines. She needed space. She needed a distraction. That's when Tyler walked in. Tall, friendly. A new designer on loan from LA. And unlike Julian, Tyler didn't set her on fire, but he made her laugh. And for 5 minutes, she forgot, until she turned and saw Julian in the doorway, watching, jaw tight, eyes unreadable. He didn't say a word, just turned and left. Later, she found him in the hallway, alone. They stood there, silent, seconds ticking like hours. "You jealous?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Of him?" Julian scoffed. "Please." She stepped closer. "You left the room." "I left because I needed air. Or because you couldn't handle the idea of me laughing with someone else." "No," he said, voice harder. "Because I couldn't handle the idea of punching someone else over it." That shut her up. Not because it was sweet, but because it was real. And real was terrifying. "This is getting dangerous," she whispered. "Too late," he replied. Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Chapter 6. Secrets and Setbacks. Emotional intensity meets raw vulnerability. A darker, deeper chapter where obsession, fear, and backstory collide. Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies, they touched, they denied, they burned for more. But desire has consequences. And when feelings get too loud, people do reckless things. The tension hadn't left. If anything, it had deepened. Days passed, and they didn't talk about it. Not the kiss. Not the almost. Not the way she still dreamed about his hands every night. They worked, they smiled, they pretended. But underneath, they were both unraveling. Friday morning started with a bombshell. Sasha walked in, tight-lipped, holding a memo. New client, old money, complicated timeline. They've specifically requested Julian for the first consult. Adira blinked. "Just Julian?" "You'll be looped in later," Sasha said. "They want a softer opening." Softer? What the hell did that mean? Julian looked at her, briefly. She looked away. 3 hours later, he was gone. Just like that. Out of the office. Out of reach. Out of her control. Adira tried not to care. She failed. She paced. Rechecked her designs. Snapped at an intern for breathing too loud. Her skin itched. Her head spun. Jealousy wasn't her color, but it was all over her. By 5 p.m., he still hadn't called. No update. No text. So she did what she'd promised herself she wouldn't do. She checked his calendar. The client meeting had ended over an hour ago, and Julian was nowhere. That night, she found him at the rooftop bar above the firm's hotel partner, alone, whiskey in hand, shirt slightly unbuttoned, eyes dark. He didn't look surprised to see her, didn't smile either. You skipped the debrief, she said flatly. I needed a break. From the project? From you. That hurt. More than she expected. Why? She asked softly. He didn't answer at first. Just looked at her like she was dangerous. Like she was everything he wanted and everything he couldn't afford. Then he spoke. Quiet. Low. Raw. Because you're under my skin, and I don't know how to stop it. She blinked. You're scared. I've done this before, Adira, he said. Fallen for someone I worked with. It ended badly. It cost me everything. A beat of silence. You're not her, he added quickly. But it doesn't matter. The stakes are too high. Adira stepped closer. I'm not asking for love, Julian. I'm asking for honesty. He downed the rest of his drink. Then here it is. I want you. Always have. But if we go down this road, I won't survive losing you too. She didn't speak. Didn't touch him. She just sat beside him in the quiet, stars above, city buzzing below. Because for the first time, she didn't want to win the fight. She just wanted him to stay in it.
Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Chapter 7, Undo Me, emotionally loaded, erotically intense, sensual but story-driven. Previously on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Julian revealed the reason he'd been holding back. Adira didn't ask for love, just honesty. Now, honesty is all they have left, and it's about to undo them both. It started with a glance. Not one of those smirking, sharp-edged stares they used to trade. This one was quiet, raw, heavy with want and something worse. Permission. They were in the firm's rooftop bar lounge. It was late. Everyone else had gone. The city pulsed below. Adira stood. Come with me, she said softly. Julian hesitated, only for a second, then followed. No questions, no small talk. They didn't make it back to the elevator. Not really. Because somewhere between the stairwell and the hallway, they stopped pretending. His hand caught her wrist, spun her around. Mouth met mouth, no warning, no holding back. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't polite. It was weeks of tension exploding into touch. Hands in hair, jacket hitting the floor, her back slamming softly into the wall. She gasped as his mouth found her throat. And then lower and lower. His voice was rough, barely human. Tell me to stop. I won't, she breathed. Don't ask. He lifted her, effortless, pressed her against the wall. She wrapped her legs around his waist. He groaned into her skin. You undo me, he whispered. Every time you look at me like you hate me, I just want to make you scream. She bit his shoulder, then stopped talking. Clothes disappeared. She didn't remember when. She didn't care. There were only sensations now. His mouth, his hands, the way he needed her like he'd never needed anything else. And she gave in, completely, hungrily, desperately. It wasn't romantic, not in the soft way. It was chaotic, hot, frantic, beautiful in its recklessness. It was real. Afterward, they stayed tangled together, breathing hard. He touched her cheek, barely. You okay? No, she whispered. You? Not even close. She rested her head against his chest. And for once, neither of them tried to fix it. They just felt it. Chapter 8. The fallout emotionally sharp, with tension that simmers beneath restraint. Previously on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. They gave in, they touched, they took, and for one perfect, dangerous night, Adira and Julian had each other completely. Now, they have consequences. The morning after should have been simple. It wasn't. Adira woke up alone. No note, no message, just the echo of his voice from the night before. You undo me. She dressed in silence, tried to steady her breath, tried to be Adira Blake again, impenetrable, polished, untouchable. but her skin still hummed, and her body remembered everything. Julian didn't show up that morning. Meetings passed, presentations were made, and still, no sign of him. By noon, the rumors started. Did something happen between them? They've been weird lately. Think Sasha knows? Adira shut it all down with one look, but the whispering didn't stop, and neither did the ache. When Julian finally appeared, hours later, he didn't say a word. Just walked into the design suite, calm as ever. But Adira saw it, the tension in his jaw, the weight in his shoulders. He didn't look at her, not once. They were alone when she cornered him in the conference room. "So we're pretending again?" she asked. I didn't know what to say. "Try hello." He exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Adira, that night." "Don't reduce it," she snapped. "Don't soften it." "I'm not," he said quietly, "but I can't think when you're near me." A pause, then softer. "You scare me." She stared at him. "Because I make you feel something?" "Because I'd give up everything just to feel it again." And that's when the door creaked open. Sasha, frozen, surprised, and clearly having heard too much. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said. Adira stepped back from Julian fast. "We were just discussing render changes." "Right," Sasha said flatly. Then she left. But the damage was done. They were no longer just a secret. They were a risk. And in this world, risks had a price. Later that night, Adira sat at home, staring at her untouched wine. Her phone buzzed once. "Julian." "I'm sorry." She typed, deleted, typed again. Then finally replied, "Me too. But sorry won't protect us."
Chapter 9. Confessions. Emotionally raw, passionate, breaking point intensity. Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. They gave in, then pulled away. Now the cracks are showing, and they're no longer just physical. Sasha overheard just enough to raise suspicion. And Julian? Julian is shutting down, which only makes Adira want to scream. She stormed into his office, closed the door, hard. He didn't even look up from his laptop. "Busy," he said flatly. "Cut the act," she snapped. "You're not busy. You're hiding." He leaned back slowly. "What do you want from me, Adira?" "I want the truth." "No," he said, voice low. "You want control. You want to pretend that night didn't change everything." She stepped closer, voice tight. "You're the one pretending." "Because I have to," he growled. "Because if I don't, I'll ruin this for both of us." Her voice dropped. "You already are." Silence. Heavy. Brutal. Then he stood. Came around the desk. Got close. Too close. "You think I don't want to touch you again? That I don't lie awake every night replaying every second of you? That I don't ache when you walk into a room and act like we didn't break each other open?" Her breath caught. "Then why push me away?" "Because it's easier than loving you." There it was. The word. Dropped like a grenade. Love. Her world tilted. "Say it again," she whispered. "It doesn't matter. Say it." He stared at her. Then finally, "I love you." It wasn't gentle. It wasn't perfect. It was broken. Breathless. Like it hurt to say. Because it did. Because loving her was never the plan. She stepped back. Like she'd been hit. You don't get to say that and walk away again. "I wasn't planning to." A pause. "Not this time." She crossed the room slowly, touched his chest, and for the first time, they didn't kiss. They just stood there, holding the weight of everything they'd said and everything they hadn't.
Chapter 10. Tangled Hearts. Emotional, intense, dramatic, with quiet devastation building to a cliffhanger. Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Julian said it. The word they'd both been avoiding. Love, and for one breathless moment, it felt like maybe, just maybe, they had a shot. But secrets never stay buried, and consequences don't care about feelings. Monday morning hit like a storm. Whispers, side glances, sudden silences when she walked past. Adira felt it. Something had changed. Sasha called her in before noon. The look on her face said everything. "Is there something you want to tell me?" Sasha asked, voice calm. Too calm. Adira held her ground. "About? You and Julian?" A beat. "No." Sasha set a file on the desk, opened it. The client rep from Kensington Estates sent this. Photos from the rooftop lounge, security footage. Nothing graphic, just close. She turned the screen. There they were. Adira, Julian, pressed together, kissing. Not in a hallway, not in shadow, on record. "This doesn't look like partnership," Sasha said coolly. "It looks like a liability." Adira stayed silent. "You're brilliant," Sasha continued, "but brilliance doesn't excuse recklessness. Are you firing me?" "Not yet." Sasha folded her arms. "But you have a choice. End this, now, or walk away from the Kensington contract and everything tied to it." Adira's throat tightened. "And Julian?" "He'll get the same talk," Sasha said. "But we both know who they'll blame first." "Of course, the woman." She left the office without a word, tried to breathe, tried to focus, but nothing felt solid. Not the floor beneath her feet, not the future she'd built brick by brick, not even him. Julian found her on the terrace hours later. He didn't say anything, just walked up beside her. She spoke first. "They know. I figured." A pause. "They gave me a choice," she said. "Career or you?" He didn't flinch. "What did you say?" "I haven't said anything yet." She turned to him. "But I need to know. If I choose you, what do we even have? Are you all in? Or are you just good at saying what sounds right when I'm breaking?" His jaw clenched. "Adira, don't lie." "I'm not." Then he stepped closer, took her hand. "I don't know what the future looks like, but I know it has to have you in it." Her phone buzzed. An email. Subject: urgent. Board meeting tomorrow. Kensington fallout. She closed her eyes. This wasn't a flirtation anymore. It was a war, and someone was going to lose everything.
Chapter 11. Breaking Point. Tense, bold, high-stakes drama with emotional fire underneath. Previously, on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Adira was given a choice: end things with Julian, or risk losing everything she's worked for. Now, the board is watching, and Adira is done hiding. The boardroom was full. Polished shoes, crossed arms, cold stares. Sasha sat at the head of the table, her expression unreadable. Adira stood at the far end, alone, spine straight, every inch of her screaming professionalism. Except inside, she was shaking. Julian wasn't there. Not yet. Sasha began. "We've gathered to address concerns raised by our Kensington client, namely, allegations of impropriety between our two project leads." Eyes turned to Adira. She didn't flinch. "This firm has a reputation to uphold," someone said. "If you've compromised that..." The door opened. Julian. He walked in calm, confident, suit perfect, storm behind his eyes. He stood beside her without asking. And for the first time, Adira didn't feel alone. "If you're going to judge," Julian said, "judge both of us." A murmur through the room. "We've kept every deadline," he continued, "delivered exceptional work, The client's issue isn't performance, it's optics. Optics matter, someone snapped. So does integrity, Julian replied. And I won't let Adira take the fall alone. Adira turned to him, stunned. This wasn't scripted. This was him, choosing her. The room was silent. Then Sasha cleared her throat. This isn't about character. It's about liability. Adira stepped forward. Then let me make it easy. She pulled the Kensington file from her bag. Here's the final concept. All deliverables. Ahead of schedule. Ready for handoff. A pause. If you think who I love makes me less of a leader, take me off the project. Gasps. Whispers. Julian looked at her like she'd set the room on fire. Because she had. And he'd never wanted her more. Sasha stared at them both. Then finally sighed. The board will review. Until then, you're both benched. Adira nodded once. Julian didn't move. The room emptied. Slowly. And for the first time, it was just the two of them. You didn't have to defend me, Adira said softly. I didn't defend you, Julian said. I stood beside you. There's a difference. She looked at him for a long moment. What if we lose this? Then we lose together.
Chapter 12. The Choice. Emotional, poignant, and unforgettable. A season finale with heat, heartbreak, and a cliffhanger that lingers. Previously on Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies, Adira and Julian stood together, faced the board, took the fall. Now they wait for answers, for fallout, for each other. 2 weeks. That's how long it took. 2 weeks of silence. Meetings behind closed doors. Emails filled with nothing but pending review and under consideration. 2 weeks without touching, without kissing, without falling back in. Because they knew if they went back there, there'd be no coming out the same. Adira walked the city more than usual. No purpose, just movement. She stopped wearing heels, stopped pretending she didn't check her phone every hour for news, and still, nothing until Tuesday. Her phone buzzed. Subject, board decision finalized. She didn't open it, she just stood there, frozen on a sidewalk in downtown Manhattan, until a voice cut through her panic. Still hate surprises? Julian asked behind her. She turned, and there he was, tired, beautiful, steady. They're cutting us loose, she said softly. He nodded. I know. I'm not mad. I am. She looked down. This was everything to me, Julian. I know. Then he stepped closer, lifted her chin. But I want something more now. What? You. She laughed. It wasn't bitter, just broken. You say that like we can just start over. Not start over, he said. Start real. With what, Julian? No project, no company, no plan. We'll build something new. A pause. Together. And for the first time, she didn't argue. Because the truth? She didn't want the version of success without him anymore. She wanted the chaos, the mess, the truth. She wanted him. She took his hand, gripped it tight. Then let's burn the map. And write our own. They kissed. Not desperate, not hungry, but steady, certain, a beginning, wrapped in ashes. As they pulled apart, her phone buzzed again. A second email. This one from Sasha. Subject, private offer, off the record. She read it, eyes widening, then looked at Julian. There's a new project. Overseas, confidential. They want us together. He raised a brow. You in? She smiled. Let's get tangled.
And that was Season 1 of Wicked Hearts, Tangled Bodies. Adira and Julian gave in to a fire they couldn't fight, risked everything, and chose love, even when it cost them everything. But this was just the beginning. In Season 2, They take their passion overseas. New project, new city, new rules. But with fresh starts come old secrets. A rival returns. A powerful client plays dirty. And one choice could destroy everything they've built, together and apart. Season 2. Unraveled is coming soon. More heat, more heartbreak, more reasons to fall harder than ever. Subscribe, stay ready, because next time, love might not be enough.
The moonlight whispers through the trees. A tender breeze carries secret pleas. Shadows dance on the velvet ground in this moment where love is found. The stars above hum a quiet tune. Hearts collide beneath the silver moon. A flame ignites, gentle yet so wild. Two souls entwined, pure and beguiled. A touch that lingers, soft as a sigh. Eyes locked, unspoken words that lie. Electric tension in the midnight air. A love so raw, beyond compare. The world dissolves, it's just you and me, caught adrift in a boundless sea. Time stands still as we softly sway in the glow of our own ballet. The organ sighs a melancholic moan. Every note whispers, you're not alone. A harmony born of passion's embrace, carved in the silence, etched on our face. This fire will stay. Echoes of love won't fade away. Through the shadows, through the light, our eternal flame will burn.